Are you ever scrolling on social media and you see someone say, "What canvas size do you draw at?" And you're curious and you want to see what other people's canvas size is. So you open it and the comments are riddled with people going, "I only draw at 600 DPI because I want everything to be quality." You sigh in resignation. You put your phone down and wonder how this can still be so common in the year 2026. This is me. Hello everybody, my name is Soren and I am your local Catgirl artist, and I am here today with a bit of a public service announcement to help destroy the general misinformation that floats around art spaces about DPI. I've whined and I've complained about this for years on social media. I've complained verbally on my streams, and I am here to immortalize it in a video format that hopefully somebody will learn that DPI is not going to affect their digital image quality in any meaningful way. I also want to mention before getting into this that this is not that deep. I'm just really passionate about it and I find it to be a pet peeve of mine, and I wanted to make this video. So this is why I'm doing it. It's not that important. But let's start with the first thing, which is, what even is DPI anyways? DPI is the initialism for dots per inch. When you make a new canvas in your art program, it's probably going to be under this field called resolution. Resolution sounds like it's directly influencing the quality of your canvas, but it isn't. It's just an information field. If you were to print your image out on paper, the resolution, or DPI, you set in your art program of choice will dictate how many printing dots per square inch there will be on your printed medium. This will directly influence things like how large your image can be printed. So the resolution field, which is just your DPI, is just a printing term. Literally, just for printing. Back in the day, I was also somebody who didn't understand this. I had this really cheap laptop, which was my first ever PC. It had like 2 gigs of RAM, and it was back in 2014. I thought that having a bigger canvas and having a higher DPI would directly make my artwork bigger and better and cooler, and I would be so awesome because bigger number equals better person, so bigger artwork with bigger numbers equal better artwork. And all it did was slow down my computer. I was drawing at like 6,000 by 8,000 pixels at 600 DPI, and I began wondering why my PC was so slow when I would be drawing. When I finally decided to lower my DPI to 300, by golly, would you guess everything stopped lagging for me? Then I finally took the initiative to learn why that was. The resolution, or DPI, I was putting into this field was just bloating my art files and slowing down my PC. Also my canvas size, but we're not going to talk about that today. I wasn't benefiting from doing this at all. So someone might be wondering, if it's just a printing term, why does it even matter? And the reason that DPI matters at all is, again, just for printing purposes only. If you want to print, let's say, A3 sized posters, and you do it at 72 DPI, when it's printed, it will only have 72 dots per square inch of the paper it's printed on, which can result in a really blurry result. 300 DPI, on the other hand, will cover most paper sizes that don't go into being huge wall posters. So it's really something to keep in mind if you ever do want to print your work. Another reason why DPI is so important to talk about is because there are so many times where you are going to see somebody say that they only draw at a certain DPI because it makes their artwork quality. And I think it's really important that we talk about this because they are not mutually exclusive at all. And it bothers me. Something I always wondered too is why 72 DPI is the lowest that you can pick in an art program. If I set my canvas in Clip Studio Paint to 1, it defaults to 72, and I wanted to know why. And the reason is that back in the day, like way back in the day, like in the 80s, Apple was making screens at 72 ppi, And PPI is pixels per inch. It's a way to measure screen pixel density. There's a specific way to measure it, and I'm not going to explain any of that. But Apple monitors back in the day were 72 PPI. So when you print it on a printer at 72 DPI, you would get a 1-to-1 result. This is not relevant today at all, and we can go much higher, and it's great. I'm sure there's some people going, well, Soren, I changed my DPI and it changes my image quality. When I work at 600 DPI, my lines are more crisp and everything is less pixelated. And I want to hold your hand and tell you that you're most likely wrong about this being attributed to your DPI. If I open a new canvas and input my fields for my new canvas and change my resolution, it's going to change how many pixels my canvas is going to have. This is even more apparent if you're someone who uses preset canvas sizes in your program. This change even happens if I manually change my DPI of my canvas in the change resolution box in CSP. However, I can just keep my DPI at 300 and just make my canvas bigger. This has nothing to do with DPI, it's just the field is directly connected to the output of your desired size in print format. So if you want to print at A3, the requirements in pixels that you need to print at 300 DPI or 600 DPI are going to be different. So finally, you might be thinking, oh, knowledgeable Catgirl, what DPI should I use? And I have an answer for you. And that answer is it's your choice. You really can't go wrong with keeping your DPI set to 300. It's not overwhelming, and you can print most things at 300 DPI pretty easily without getting a blurry image. Also, isn't gonna make your file bloat huge, and hopefully won't lag your files. If you have zero interest in printing, then by all means, just set it and forget it to 72. That's absolutely fine. If you want to print very large posters or banners, set that up to 600 or even 1200 if you really want to get massive. You need to pick something that works for you and your art goals, whether that's just 100% digital or if you want to print a bunch of stuff. It's your art, and at the end of the day, it is your choice. But now that you have the information to know that DPI is just a printing term, please do your part and aid me in my crusade against DPI misinformation. I want to see this annoying and inconsequential devil be eradicated from the halls of art discussion forevermore, and I need people like you to help me do that. The year is 2026, and I think it's high time that we got this all sorted out, and I will stand on this hill shouting to get it to happen. If you would like to support me on my quest, consider joining my Discord where you can mingle with the other DPI soldiers, or support me on Patreon so I can dedicate more time to being a warrior on the field 24/7. I unfortunately have bills to pay, so the more I can leverage that, the more I can be fighting on the front lines for everybody. I hope you learned something about DPI today, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. DP bye!